11BA, a true story sent by viewer. I booked Unit 11A. The door that opened wasn't 11A. Last August, I took a solo trip to Portland, Oregon, 4 nights. A reset trip I had been planning since spring and kept pushing back because something else always came up. I finally booked the flights in July and told myself I was going regardless of what happened at work. I'd been meaning to visit Portland for years. Good food, walkable neighborhoods, the kind of city where you can disappear into your own head for a few days and come back feeling like a person again. The Airbnb I found was in a newer apartment complex in the Pearl District, right in the middle of downtown. 12th floor of a mid-rise building, Unit 11A. The listing photos showed white walls, concrete ceilings, floor-to-ceiling windows with a clear view of the city. Simple, modern, exactly the kind of place I prefer when I travel alone. The host went by Jay Patel and had a perfect 5-star rating across 62 reviews. Every single one of them mentioned the view. Check-in was fully automated, a 6-digit smart lock code that changed with each new booking. No keys, no lockbox, no need to coordinate with anyone. I confirmed my booking and didn't think about it again until I was at the airport. I landed Thursday afternoon and took a rideshare directly to the building. The lobby was clean and modern, polished concrete floors, a desk near the entrance where a doorman checked my name against a guest list on a tablet. He found it, circled the unit number with his pen, and pointed me toward the elevators. Professional, efficient, the kind of building that takes itself seriously. I rode up to the 12th floor, walked down a long carpeted hallway, and found the apartment at the far end on the left side. The number plate on the door read 11A. I typed in the 6-digit code. The lock beeped once, that clean, confident beep of a system that recognizes you, and the door swung open. I stepped inside and set my bag down in the entryway. Something felt off. I couldn't name it immediately. It was more like a texture than a thought, the specific feeling of a space that doesn't quite match the image you'd built of it. I stood in the entryway for a moment and looked around. The layout was right. Kitchen to the left, open living area ahead, bedroom visible through the far door. The city view through the windows was exactly as advertised, the late afternoon light coming in flat and golden across the floor. Everything about the structure matched, but the details were wrong. There was a half-full bottle of red wine on the kitchen counter, no cork in it, a glass sitting beside it with a faint ring of dried wine at the bottom. A phone charger was plugged into the outlet nearest the couch, the cable coiled loosely on the cushion like someone had set it down in the middle of something. A light jacket was hung over the back of one of the dining chairs. And near the bedroom door, placed neatly, side by side, heels together, a pair of men's dark dress shoes. I pulled up the listing photos on my phone and stood in the exact same spot. The couch in the photos was gray. A clean light, gray sectional positioned facing the windows. The couch in front of me was navy blue, a different style, clearly a different piece of furniture entirely. I looked at the rug. Different. I looked at the light fixture above the kitchen island. Different. I walked back to the front door slowly and looked at the number plate mounted on the wall beside it. 11B. I stood in that hallway for probably 30 seconds, just holding my bag. My mind was doing the thing it does when something doesn't add up, cycling back through the sequence of events, trying to find the error. I had typed the correct code. The lock had beeped green. The door had opened. The number on the outside of the door said 11A when I arrived. I walked back and checked it again under the hallway light. 11B, clearly. No ambiguity. I had either misread the number when I arrived, which was possible. I'd been traveling for hours, or something had gone wrong with the lock system itself. Either way, I was standing in a stranger's home, a real person's apartment, not a vacant rental unit staged for photos. Someone lived there. The wine on the counter, the shoes by the door, the jacket on the chair, none of it was decorative. Someone had left for the day that morning and expected to come home to all of it exactly as they'd left it. I went back to the elevator without touching anything, rode down to the lobby, and explained the situation to the doorman. He called the property manager immediately, a woman named Carla who arrived from her office on the second floor within 3 minutes. She was calm, but clearly concerned. She walked me back upstairs, confirmed the unit number, then stood in front of the smart lock panel for a long moment before pulling out her phone. It took the building's facilities team about 40 minutes to diagnose what had happened. The short version: Units 11A and 11B shared a connected lock panel, part of the building's centralized smart access system. A firmware update that had been pushed to the system the previous week had introduced a bug in the way adjacent unit codes were processed under a specific timing condition. If a guest entered their code within a narrow window after the system had just processed another access event on the same floor, there was a small chance the code would authenticate against the neighboring unit instead of the correct one. It had never happened before. It was, by every technical account, a genuine software error, not a security breach, not a hack, not anyone's malice. Just a bug. A line of code somewhere that hadn't been tested for the right edge case. The building comped my stay in full and moved me to a different unit on the 9th floor. Jay Patel called me personally that evening, clearly embarrassed and apologetic, and offered a complete refund on top of what the building had already covered. The resident of 11B, a man in his late 30s, according to Carla, was notified about what had happened. I don't know what that conversation looked like. I don't know how he felt coming home that evening to his wine and his shoes and his jacket, knowing that a stranger had been inside his apartment for a few minutes that afternoon with no way of knowing until someone told him. I've thought about that part more than anything else. Not the technical failure, not the inconvenience, not even the feeling of walking into the wrong space. What I keep coming back to is the specific vulnerability of it. He had done everything right. He lived in a building with a modern security system, a staffed lobby, keyless access. He had every reasonable expectation that his home was secure while he was away. And for a window of a few minutes on a Thursday afternoon, it wasn't, not because of anything he did or didn't do, but because of a software update he never knew existed, affecting a system he'd had no reason to question. The platform support agent I spoke to the following week called it a technical anomaly, said it had been patched and was unlikely to recur. I thanked her and hung up. I still think about those shoes by the door. The way they were placed, heels together, toes pointed out, the kind of deliberate tidiness that becomes automatic after years of the same routine. Someone had taken them off that morning, set them down exactly like that, and walked out the door without a second thought. No reason to wonder if a stranger might walk in before they got back. No reason to think about it at all. Now, whenever I check into any rental anywhere, the first thing I do before I touch anything else is walk back to the front door and read the number on the outside. Just stand there and read it. It takes 3 seconds. It's a small thing, but I do it every single time.